Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
As you can see, a giant eye, the all-seeing eye of Sauron.
So now I'm out of focus now.
Oh, you've broken it. Oh, never mind. That's why we don't try these extreme close-ups normally.
There we go.
Hopefully, touch wood,
Better.
we should this week be free of technical difficulties. I've had a rewiring done, and I'm hopefully. Yes, and I'm hoping that everything is now working better. So hopefully everything in the stream seems better. Hopefully everything tonight will be better. Fingers crossed, basically. We can but see. Get the plumbing sorted.
Hopefully everything will be better. No dear. It'll be the same as usual.
No, same as always. So who have we got in the chat tonight?
Me.
We've got some weirdo called Rowan. We've got Michael Snap, who was the first to post tonight. Hello, Michael. We have Mr. Morph, as always. We have the Glory Seekers, who used to be the Glory Holers, but now they're the Glory Seekers.
Which I think is probably better.
I don't want to seem like I'm I don't want to seem like I'm being maybe snobbish, but maybe Glory Seekers is better.
Yeah, although I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't come to me first, because I feel like they should have been the Glory Hounds. And then they could have used Grawl as their kind of official motto. So
and they could have had Riptooth every now and then.
Yeah. I feel like they could have. In fact, they could have used all of them, couldn't they? And they could have just been the Glory Hound.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. We got Mr. Marlowe, Mr. Greaves. It's almost like Mr. White, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Brown, Mr. John Grant, Wolfman Gaz. Who else have I got? Everybody so far. Mr. Newell, Jason Newell, who, interestingly enough, was our winner of our most recent Patreon monthly giveaway, who won a whole copy of the Direchasms.
Yeah, and we found out firsthand what a nightmare it is buying Games Workshop stuff in Australia.
Jesus, I have a newfound sympathy for all Aussie buyers of GW goods. Because holy crap, it was a lot.
Yeah. All future competitions will be not available in Australia.
Yeah. We have Ed Hillar, who's also another winner of ours.
Yeah.
Back again. Anthony Tissonsaw as well. I think I've covered and said hello to everybody, but if I've missed you, do say hello in the chat below.
Hello in the chat below.
How are you this week, Mr. Robin?
I'm not too bad. Has anybody else noticed that the week's getting shorter? I'm sure that this week only had at least, maybe as few as 4.5 days in it before I'm back here again. It just seems to be, I don't know where the times go. I can't believe it's Tuesday already. I mean, admittedly, I did spend quite a lot of last week making and cutting videos to get all the Direchasm stuff out. And obviously, there's been an awful lot to churn through on Direchasm and looking at all the new stuff and all that kind of thing. So I think that's why. But yes, it just seems to have rushed around this week, and we're meant to be meeting on some sort of game, or digitally meeting for some sort of game on Thursday, and I've got no idea what I'm going to do or what we're going to do, because we've just had not time to talk about it.
Yes, we are, especially with all lockdown, we can't really meet for games, we can't play Direchasm. We're probably not going to get onto that until 2021. So
seems very unlikely, unless we play outside.
It's a real trick. Yeah, and I don't really fancy that. I mean, it'll be slightly colder than the garage, but not much. It definitely feels like 2020 can go do one. December especially. December is the worst time of the year for them to release a new game.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Oh, sorry.
It's the most wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good time for a new game, is it? I mean, we were actually considering just being family members so we could play on Christmas Day.
Well, you can have 3 households, right?
Exactly. So we're not seeing anybody, so you could come over Christmas Day and we'll play.
Hey, I've got the mother-in-law. Yay!
All the more reason. In fact, if you pop over earlier, it wouldn't count for you. You just, if you don't go back, you could just move in.
That's a good point. Just find a cheap flat somewhere. Ross says fancy background, love it. That's the same background as before. It's just slightly turned.
Oh.
I'm not going to fiddle with the camera.
It does seem to be. That's on my Skype. It seems to be blurring in the background.
Oh yeah, well,
both of us.
No, don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Who knows?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
Yours might be if you set up your Skype like that, but I can't do that on mine. But no.
Okay. But you are blurred. That's the weird thing. You keep blurring in and out of focus on my Skype. Anyway, that's beside the point. Just let us know if we keep blurring in and out of focus on YouTube. I haven't got YouTube running. I've only got the chat popping up.
And Tim was asking, are we not going to see each other around Christmas then? Probably not. It's probably going to be digital the whole way through till 2021, unless the lockdown measures get
on the
relaxed
16th. Is it the 16th of December? I think they will. What's the word? I can't think of the word, but they will look at the tiers again and see whether we're going to change the tiers. We're in tier 2, which means we can't meet indoors. And I think probably, if anything, it's going. Judging by the amount of children I have at home at the moment due to self-isolation, it's going up around here rather than down. So I don't imagine that we'll be meeting before Christmas.
It's going up in many areas around London as well, which obviously we're not a million miles away from.
No, I've read
Kent's
that
going up and all that.
Going up too. So yeah.
And some of them are going up higher than other areas in England that are already tier 3. Right. So
so I'm not.
The writings must be on the wall.
Basically, I think I've got one child at home, and there's been 3 cases in the primary school, one. So, but none of them are at home yet. But yeah, it's not looking good.
Yes, it's a bit rubbish at the minute. So yes, we probably won't get to meet up till 2021. Mr. Morph says he does like the Blitz Bowl box. Yeah, wrong shoulder. There we go. That shoulder.
I hate that. I never get that right ever.
Ever, never. It's like
ever.
That's
ever,
like nah shit.
Ever.
It also confused me because in some programs Skype reverses the image so that you point the way that you want to point on the screen, but in OBS it doesn't. So it's just shit, basically. Young Jin says that he's already got his copy of Direchasm. Well done, you are better than me. But he's no one to play it with though. On that one, we are the
me
same.
too. In fact, mine's not a million miles away. I'll go and get it.
Oh, cool. Might as well. If anybody watching tonight has any questions about Direchasm that they want to ask, if you don't have a copy yet and you're unsure about anything you've read or heard either on one of our videos or one of the other plethora of videos and things out there, and you want to ask for some clarification, do shout out in the comments and we will cover it. There's the boxes upside down.
Is it?
I mean, it's I mean, I can understand left and right wrong, but up and down,
I can't see because the screen's blurred. I keep saying to you. I couldn't see that. All it is just like a brown mass with a white bit here.
Ooh. Yeah. I wonder why you're getting it blurred. That's very strange. Very weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just blurred in the Skype thing. I have no idea why. It keeps every now and again it unblurs, but then it's
weird.
Blurred.
Very weird.
I'm not doing the eye thing again. I obviously screwed it up.
Hopefully, everything so far seems to be smooth on the IT front still.
Well,
so
Tim's got to wait till Christmas, mind you. If there's 1 year, it's good to wait till Christmas. Is this one? A, because it come out in December, and B, because there's nobody to bloody play games anyway.
Yeah, it'd be a bit of a shitter if you had to wait for your season 2 in December.
Yeah,
I'll wait 3 months for it or something like that.
Yeah, but do you remember when the world used to work that way? You used to. When I was a child, or because just the world worked that way, you basically bought stuff and you got it for Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be like, I want that new toy. And I bet you get it for Christmas. It's June.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't work like that now, does it? When a computer game in particular comes out, it'll be the big computer game release in the autumn would be what I get for Christmas. But now they queue up at midnight for it, well, they would do pre-COVID. But anyway, we probably ought to talk about Direchasm.
We probably should.
Old man rantings about delayed gratification.
So Milo13 asks a question, which is a good one. Universal cards in Direchasm are essential for deck building. I mean, you probably have to take the lead on this one, Robin, because I know very little about the universal cards because I don't have my box yet. So
okay, sorry, where's the question?
Universal cards are?
Okay, are they essential for deck building? Well, depends what you mean. But I said, well, yes, they are, because with just the box, you can't do any deck building if you don't use them. Because because so you get a deck each for each. You get a deck for the purifiers and a deck for the dread pageant, and then you get these 60 universal cards. So they're not shared. So in the previous editions, they were duplicated, so you could make identical decks. well, not identical, but identical universal decks. But now, of course, you can't, because they are basically like just a pack of 60 that you'd have got in a single warband. So you're going to have to fight over who gets the soul tooth weapons. There's a soul tooth spear, I think, and a soul tooth something else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Interesting.
And
interesting
they're good. Box. So you're going to have, you won't be able to make completely balanced decks anyway. Arguably the other ones weren't balanced anyway. But I certainly remember Cursebreakers versus the Thorns. The Thorns were, I think, straight out of the box. The Thorns were better, I think. Can't remember.
Yes, straight out of the box. Yeah, Thorns were definitely a lot better because they had a lot of the grab objectives cards, which obviously they had 7 bodies and they could shove all of the chain rasps.
Yeah.
So they could do that dead easy, and then you had like Avalon, who's like, hold objective 5. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Or even Supremacy. I know. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. That's exactly what I wanted.
So
I was going to try and bring.
Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was just reading another question, but there's still loads of questions all pumping out now.
We're not prepared.
Yeah, VJ says it's missing great strength, etc. Yeah, and there aren't any single objective hold cards. So basically, all those staples that have been in the last 3 seasons starter boxes. So Annihilation, hold objective 1 to 5, Supremacy, Conquest, Denial. I'm not going to
sidestep.
They're all gone. All gone. Not there at all. There is a faction-specific Supremacy, I think, for the Purifiers. And I feel like there's a conquesty type card. I think the Dread Pageant have a conquest card. I think it might be a hybrid, but there's a possibility of you can score. But it's not third turn; it's any turn. I think that's the difference. I think it's any turn rather than third turn. You just have to have everybody in the opponent's half. So
he also asked,
all of the duplicated cards that you've got multiple copies of if you've been playing from the beginning are not in this box. Which I think is a good thing, as we discussed in our video.
Yes. And he was asking, do we think they'll put them in every other season so they don't rotate out, but they don't also clog up? Maybe they might. That might be their way around it, and that wouldn't necessarily be a bad way of fixing it. But I also don't think it'd be a bad thing to just get rid of them.
I feel like I'm going to the toilet.
Well, that's maybe you should go and check.
I just realised I was putting that kind of face. I don't know. I kind of hope they won't, because firstly, I think people will feel a bit cheated on the alternate season, getting the cards they've already got if they've been playing for a long time. And secondly, I think maybe they realised you might see some reprints, but I think they might have realised that great strength actually is OP. And for teams, say, like, the Thorns, for example, would have been nowhere near as strong, I don't think, if the Queen didn't have access to an easy great strength. And then the various cards that are like great strength since Beastgrave box came out have all had caveats with them, unless they're faction specific. So you've got like Sting of the Urgrub, but it's only range 1. And then there's the new one, which is Savage Strength,
isn't it?
Savage Strength, I think, which gives you -1 defense. So it's +1 strength, but it's -1 defense. But then somebody pointed out it's really good penalty if you've got the Substance Siphon on, because you can't change the defense roll with Substance Siphon.
Oh yeah.
So
But that's quite a downside to +1 damage, isn't it? -1 defense.
Yeah, definitely. There's a few cards like that. There's a equivalent speed card as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a sign that maybe whilst they're and there's a question about primacy that we can come on to in a moment. Whilst they seem to be bigging up punching somebody, with the primacy token and stuff like that, and they're bigging up the aggro side and not seemingly bigging up the objective side, I wonder whether they're taking the teeth out of them a little bit with removing things like great strength, and maybe that'll help that side of things.
Yeah, and obviously with -1 defense, you've got more chance of hurting people as well, because the defenses are lower, and they've changed the support rules to be. I haven't actually worked out the math whether it makes it much better or not. I guess it depends. It's better if you, because both sides get defense dice, but you tend to run more attack dice than defense dice, don't you? So it probably works out better for the attackers. It's probably a bonus for the attackers.
it increases your overall. I think it increases the overall chance of rolling successes. So whether rolling
Yeah.
successes is something that's going to be a big thing or not.
But I guess if just on
yeah.
a standard combat, it's normally 3 attack dice versus 1, maybe 2 defense dice, and obviously, therefore, even if both sides have got more chances of successes, there's more chance of getting success on 3 dice than there is on 2 dice. If you do it,
Yeah.
see what I mean? So I guess it probably is a small push. There definitely is a small push towards aggro. Somebody's talked about the primacy token. New conditions seem very slanted toward punishing teams with low wound models. I'm trying to think how that works. I guess
that's the one where if you're the last person, when you kill somebody, you get the primacy token. Whoever has it
so
last,
you have to kill somebody completely without taking any wounds off them, don't you? I'm sorry, somebody who hasn't had any wounds taken off them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's probably reasonably balanced, because I think that
you've got to kill them before they have any wounds. So low count model, low. It's a bit more punitive to low wound models, but then they're generally better at they're going to have more chances to do more activations, aren't they?
Yeah, and it is only 1 spent glory extra, if you know what I mean, which I know is not nothing, but it's not like it can't get the ball rolling for somebody who, they can't use it to get an upgrade on. In the final reckoning, it's there, and you might get a couple. I think you'd be lucky to score it 3 times. I mean, you might, but I'm not sure. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. But I feel like it's quite balanced, and yes, it is slanted towards punishing the team with low wall models, but those guys tend to be the ones that, as we like to say, print glory. The Grimwatch.
Sepulchral Guard are offended by that statement.
Well, apart from the Sepulchral Guard.
But their season 1 is shit anyway. I haven't had a chance to see what's the shtick for soul tooth weapons in this season.
It's against models with the charge token, I think.
Ooh, okay,
that's
interesting.
The extra thing. Yeah.
So the soul tooth bow is range 4.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
2 hammers and 1 damage. You can reroll 1 dice in the attack roll if the target has 1 or more move or charge tokens.
Yeah. Yeah, range.
So it rewards that sort of going second sort of aspect, reacting.
Yeah, range is definitely becoming a bit sort of like a sequel to a good movie, isn't it? It's range, but with more. So it's like
with more range
of 4, and what's the name? The elf has now got a range of 5, which is inspired on her range attack. It's kind of like we've got to up the ante.
And that cow elf, that stupid cow elf, Banana, whatever his name is, he's got a hammer that's range 2, and I'll bet dollars to donuts that bastard hammer ain't longer than Kirk's spear, and he's got range 1.
It's got a
I'm not happy about that.
On the end. Like goes out on a spring type, one of those kind of
go
spring things.
Yeah, go gadget sort of an Acme hammer. Yeah. He's actually got someone has to paint an Acme hammer on that guy now, and model it on with a great big red head on the hammer.
Excuse me.
Ooh. What other questions have we got? Can we shed more light on the primacy cards? Can they be used easily? Ooh. What about that, Robin?
Do you want to dig it much? Probably it's easier to get them out on UDB, isn't it?
That's what I'm just doing now.
The ones they've got so far are pretty easy to use, I think.
So they're about 5. There's Awesome Predator, which is an objective. So score this in the end phase if you have the primacy token. So just get hold of it and you'll score that. But that's only 1 glory, I think. Or 1 or more surviving friendly fighters have 1 or more attack actions with a damage characteristic of 4 or more. So that's not bad. Another one is Surge of Aggression. Score immediately after you gain the primacy token. So that's a nice surge. Or a friendly fighter has an a damage characteristic of 4 or more. So those are pretty cool, both of those. There's a ploy, which is called Thrill of the Hunt, which says play this after a friendly fighter's attack action that takes an enemy out. You gain the primacy token, then pick either heal 1 on that fighter or push that fighter 1 hex, which is okay. But you do have to kill someone to gain the primacy token, so that is reliant on you attacking lower wound count warbands. Fearsome Trappings is an upgrade that says they're a hunter. In addition, if you have the primacy token, you can reroll 1 attack die, so that's a bit like a slightly more specified awakened weapon kind of thing.
Yeah.
And last one is Master of Spores, which is another upgrade, which says gain the primacy token each time this fighter makes an attack action that takes an enemy fighter out of action, which you do anyway. After this fighter is taken out of action, discard the primacy token. I don't really get that one at all.
Well, it's slightly different because it's just taking an enemy fighter out of action, so they don't. If they're already wounded, you can win the primacy token. But if you then die before the end of the round, you would lose it again. So that's the rub. So they're not very. They're not that those upgrades aren't that powerful. I don't think. I mean the fearsome trappings could be if you have the primacy token. But if you don't, it's not that useful. I don't know whether we're going to see more benefits for being a hunter as the game goes on, because there's that card and there's the one that makes everybody a hunter and a quarry
for a round.
And I wonder whether there's going to be more hunter-specific buffs and things.
I hope so.
I guess we'll have to see.
What else have we got in here then? Daniel Santos says, could this be a strategy to sell friends 2 core boxes and not 1 to share? Maybe. Although I doubt it, because most of us are completionists and we like to have all the cards and all the warbands. So
yeah, I don't know. I've only got Pete as a friend and we buy 2. So I don't. And
we don't even paint up both sets of warbands either. So
no, because nobody watches mirror matches. So I don't. I don't think it is. I think it's probably to encourage people to buy into it who perhaps have had the less than full season with COVID and think, I don't really want to buy half the cards I already own 2 or 3 times over. So I'm going to, I think it's the nod to that and a nod to the new Vanguard season. And I think just mixing it up, I think everybody, great fortitude and great strength are always nearly always in the decks.
Just always, they're nearly always there. Unless you're going for something specific.
Sorry?
Unless you're going for something specific and you're going for like a tomes deck or something like that. Yeah. Youngjin has also pointed out that the soul tooth weapons also make you a hunter. So maybe there's more coming for hunters this time around. Yeah, so
there definitely are extra hunterage.
Yeah. Greg Sargent says more range equals warming up for killing off Underworlds for the 40k replacement. I mean, I wouldn't be that upset, to be honest. If they replace it with a 40k version, I'd still buy it.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Yeah, there's quite a few. So I have only typed in hunter in the search engine, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different cards that do hunter things.
There's quite a few, really, when you consider last season that there was only about
a couple of them are
20
objectives, so obviously they're not particularly, and one of them isn't at all. It's just called Treasure Hunter. You've got the hunting season where it makes everybody a hunter and then everybody a quarry, and then the others there's lots of things. There's 5 upgrades which all make you a hunter. So that's 5 out of, I don't know how many upgrades there are in a pack, but let's say there's 20. That's quite a lot.
Well, yeah, somewhere around that. Who else have we got down? Youngjin also points out if they were allowed to have the Lumineth Spear, we would have had the first range 3 melee attack. Yeah, we probably would have done that. Would have been a bit mental. I think people would have started getting very angry, though, in that case. Laura Bates is on, as is Jason Newell. Hello to you all. Thank you for joining us this evening. Youngjin has been doing his homework. He's also pointed out Relic also has 15 objective cards now, but still 6 surge limit for those who care.
Where's that? Sorry. Okay. Oh, okay. I hadn't noticed that. Also has 15 objective card decks. Interesting. I hadn't seen that change. I think probably because I'm never going to play Relic. Because I'm of the opinion, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I'm of the opinion that the game has evolved for the better as it's gone on. So therefore, playing Relic is an inferior, less fun version of the game. That's my feeling.
I also realised that we've played 2 Grand Clashes and both of them were Nightvault.
Yeah. Well, one was
Beastgrave. Sorry, one was just after Beastgrave had come out, wasn't it? Because there was the Grimwatch and the Doges had come out as well.
Yeah, the Grimwatch were
there. What else we got? Anthony says if he remembers correctly, there's a surge objective of taking out a quarry, so making everyone a quarry until the end of the round can work. Yes, if it's a surge card, then that helps with that.
There is got to be a hunter, and so basically, if you can get a hunting season on, then you can score a successful hunt.
Also thinks that great. Sorry, go on.
Oh, well, and potentially triumphant hunt from Beastgrave.
Yeah. Rosov thinks that Great Fortitude will be used less because of the 6+ wounds for the extra glory. I don't know how much that will turn me off.
Yeah, I mean, he said that in the
Patreon
chat. And I mean, maybe. I mean, for me, there are the warbands I tend to play. There aren't that many 5 wound fighters, so you've got to have a 5 wound fighter to make that happen. I mean, I think there possibly are other ways of adding wounds.
Aside from the 2 big boys, you've got Gerzag and Fuel. No, Fuel is Fuel. No, yeah, Fuel goes to 5 wounds, I think. So you've got like about 3, or with Slake Slash, you've got about 4 5 wound fighters in total. There's not many.
And Anthony said he would still be tempted to pump Slake Slash as much as possible, which I know we were saying how passe Slanesh jokes are, but that one's teed up there.
That's okay. Oh, and all of Morgox are 5. Craig has just pointed out that is a very good point.
You might not take it in a Morgox deck, but I think probably you probably would, because actually, okay, you might ship 1 extra glory, but it's still, if you don't die, you don't ship any extra glory. So I think it's a small trade-off. I think, especially if you're playing sort of any element of control, because you want to keep them alive. So it's really it's mostly Morgox that it would affect.
Slake Slash has got that really nice ability as well, where he can heal himself. So if he's got 6 wounds and then he keeps doing things to heal himself a wound, then you're not going to care.
Objective for having a fighter with the highest wounds, so it balances out. Yes, and that Morgox with Great Fortitude is going to win that against many matchups, not all of them, but many matchups.
Daniel Santos says that he thinks with Vanguard, championships will become more interesting with warband releases. Do you guys think this might replace the regular championship in popularity?
No. Although I really love it.
I don't think so.
I really love it. I just don't think the championship thing is kind of established. I don't think you get people to move away from it, because I think people will love to have what they've worked on anyway for the last 12 months, and they want to incorporate that in. I think. I mean, I really like the Vanguard. I think it's a really good way of playing the game, and I would be much more likely to turn up at a Vanguard tournament locally than I would a championship one.
It just gives new players and old players alike a really level playing field.
Yeah.
I've not played in I played in 1 tournament that was a local one, and it was quite obvious because some of the people there, they just bought Beastgrave and they just bought like the Nurgle warband, and that was all they had to make their deck with. And I turned up with obviously every card that was available on the Nurgle warband and made a much better deck than they could have ever hoped to have achieved. But I think the Vanguard ones would make that much better, and I hope that we'll see more local Vanguard tournaments coming around. And less normal sort of style championships, tournaments in the local scene. But I think Grand Clashes will definitely always still be championships.
Yeah, I think so.
But I would definitely be tempted to actually go to a Vanguard local tournament if there was one running and we weren't all suffering from the plague.
Yeah. Yongjin says Morgox have enough damage reduction, so you probably don't mind me not running Fortitude.
True. We missed a point that Wolfman Gaz pointed out, where he said that Relic's probably good for those who can't keep up with purchases or straight up don't want to. That is true, and I think Vanguard helps with anybody who's new to the game and can't, or just can't warrant. I know a lot of people go, the buying for this game's horrific. GW are just, they've made a model where they can resell you everything every 12 months. Like, have you tried 40k? I mean, you've got to spend like 900 quid just to get an army in the first place.
Just to buy the rule books.
Exactly. So I think that whilst this game is very easy to enter and is actually fairly low cost in the grand scheme of GW stuff, somebody who starts now who's just coming with Direchasm doesn't really want to have to go buy the Beastgrave starter box if they can find it.
Yeah.
As well as another 6 warbands, but Vanguard means that they don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, Laura makes a good point. She likes more Vanguard in principle, but the number of different modes is getting confusing. I can see that. I wonder whether Relic will. I mean, I don't think. I've never thought that the community had enough support. They're not enough. there aren't enough of us to support a relic format and a championship format, because most people want to play championship, and I know some people will go and play relic, but anybody who's come in later hasn't got those early cards. I just don't think it's there yet. Maybe in 20 seasons time it might be. You might get diehards who want to play like Magic the Gathering. They do, don't they? They play from way back when. But I feel like Vanguard will have a place because it is for new players, but older players can still join in too because they've got they'll be keeping up. So I feel like they're the two formats that are going to run side by side. I'm sort of interested that they've officially declared Grand, what they call it now, the Arena Mortis Grand Melee, is it, or something? The Arena Mortis tournaments, that's kind of interesting. And there's obviously the Alliance tournament, but that's very specific as well. So I think Relic is probably not going to see much play, and Vanguard might. I hope Vanguard does, because I think it's a nice way to play.
I mean, I'm interested to see people who are watching tonight shout in the comments if you've played a lot of Relic matches or Relic tournaments, because I think I remember seeing one being advertised online on Vassal or TTS or something like that, but that was about it. And everything else has been the standard format of championship sort of format.
Vanguard excludes far too many people's warbands for the last 3 seasons. Well, I see that, but I think if you're keeping up, then you don't mind because you're probably playing championship anyway, and you can just go and play with your Vanguard stuff that you're probably buying anyway because you're keeping up. So I feel like that's okay. Zach, sorry.
I think that's probably quite moot. Anyway, Youngjin said it's he would hate Vanguard with just the start set minimum 4 warbands, and I think the likelihood of seeing many Vanguard tournaments before we end up with 4 warbands is probably almost zero.
Yeah,
anyway,
that is true.
I agree.
I do kind of feel for season 5 they want to be doing what they did last year, where we got our box and then a couple of warbands very quickly afterwards. I think you do need to make Vanguard worth turning up for. You probably need 4 warbands.
I mean, the likelihood is one of the warbands will probably be out before we end up meeting for a Direchasm match anyway. The way things are going.
But I mean, that said, lots of games do work with minimum, with a minimum of, chess. I always go back chess, but chess doesn't change.
Yeah.
And it's still a good game, so you can still have good games against different people using the very limited card set in different ways. I think. I mean, I think it'd be quite interesting actually to watch the top players who are really all about position and board placement and all that kind of stuff play with a very limited card set and see what they can create and see how they can actually use the mechanics of the game to win. I think
you almost want like everybody has to have the same warband and the same deck. Almost. And see how they play, because you know what your opponent's got, but obviously they also know what you've got, and you know what warband they've got. It would come down much more to placement. Obviously card and dice would still play a factor, but placement would be much more a thing in that kind of situation.
I feel like the optimum way for it to work, you need a little bit of variation, but I can't almost like two. You can choose between 2 warbands and you can have a limited card pool, and so you kind of you know what 2 warbands are represented, and you know what cards are represented, but you don't know what order that will. You don't know quite what the opponent will be facing. I think that would be possibly more interesting than everybody having the same, because it might fall down to luck a bit more then. I just don't know.
Dr. Kalk says maybe a cube draft instead of relic. I don't know what that means, but if you can explain that one, then possibly. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't know what a cube draft is. Anthony Tittenser says that he's pretty sure they tried to run a relic tournament in Vassal and got nowhere. Right. I'd be interested to find out if that were the case or not. Yongjin says championship can be a bit intense. 3 rounds, 45 minutes. 3 rounds in 45 minutes? That seems very intense.
3 rounds in 90, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No, 3 games, not 3 rounds.
Well, 3 games, yeah. The alternative,
Right, Wolfman Gaz says that pre-COVID they were all playing Relic because everyone had different sets. Well, that's quite cool. I'm sure whoever had Ready for Action was always feeling rather...
Yes, again, I think there's a difference between tournaments and playing casually, which I suppose probably ought to define, really, when I talk about this. I really mean in a tournament setting. If you're just meeting up with your friends, then playing whatever cards is obviously more I'm not going to say fine because it's all fine, but it's more likely to happen. But I do feel even not that I've played it out in the field very much, but I do feel people tend to play the assumption is you'll be playing the championship rules, and that's certainly brought out by our videos. Whenever they make a card rule change, we're a couple of weeks behind. People will inevitably comment that, oh, you can't use that card, it's illegal. So I think the perception is that whatever the championship rules are, that's what people
the base set
should,
of rules,
in inverted commas, be playing.
Yeah. Laura Bates pointed out a good thing. She thinks that Vanguard's a good format for things like grand skirmishes at conventions because it makes it accessible for people who play Underworlds as a second game. Yeah, I think
definitely.
I think we were talking, although it wouldn't be quite the same by the time we get around to Agents Con. We were saying, we would do like a Vanguard thing at Agents Con, but the whole thing will be out by then because all the everything will be released by that point.
I'm leaning towards doing a grand melee or whatever it's called, grand brawl.
Less stuff to have to carry around.
Grand brawl. Well, then somebody could say brawl to the grand brawl. Try saying that.
Take the brawl to the brawl.
Brawl to the brawl. Insane in the brain.
Insane in the membrane. Rosa says, can you not use older warbands in Vanguard with just the current season faction-specific cards? I mean...
No. Well, you mean you...
Yeah, you can't, but I mean, I don't see why you couldn't in that kind of situation, maybe.
Well, not officially, but I mean, obviously, people might.
Gavin just wants to play in any tournament whatsoever, he says. Yeah, I think a lot of people do now. We're all a bit fed up of this.
Yeah, just want to play.
Just want to play some games. Just want to meet other human beings that aren't my family. Will there be a trophy mug for the Grand Brawl? You know there will be. I'm going to make these promises because I'm still only 50-50 that it'll be going ahead because COVID will probably still be bouncing.
I think it'll have to be a shawl if we have a Grand Brawl.
The Grand Brawl shawl with a picture of
Gruul. A poncho, you put it over them when they win.
Embroidered with Gruul, looking cool.
And a scepter made out of aluminium foil and toilet rolls.
I thought he said a septum. I'm like, why would someone's nose? Why would their nose be made of? I don't get it.
Scepter.
Laura says in her regular group they're planning to stick with championship format but let people proxy cards models they don't have. I think that kind of is probably the best way. It's that, like you say, Robin. I think most people just assume that whatever the championship rules are, that's the base way of playing the game.
I feel like that.
And whilst you can play it many other ways, that's generally perceived as the right way to play it. Unless you've got a group of friends who sort of all say, let's just do relic format or something like that.
Yeah. Andrew's made a joke that's just so March 2020.
It's just so March 2020. Toilet rolls, they're 10 a penny now. We don't care about them.
See, Rosa says it's a bit poo to increase the variety of warbands to use. I think the point of Vanguard is, though, that it isn't. It doesn't. It's meant to be a sort of fairly compact format. Minimised. I think that's the entire point of it. I mean, I sort of see where you're coming from, but the idea is, I mean, I'm not sure with power creep. I'm not sure that actually the old warbands are better, but I think the idea is it stops being so confusing for new players and having to deal with the Thorns or Grimwatch or something like that. So I think the point of Vanguard is it's small. Although I do take your point.
Yeah, it's good and bad. It's good that it will keep things a bit more shrunk down, a bit more minimised, and there won't be quite so much scope creep going on. No. Not the right word, but you get what I mean. It won't be so sprawling. But at the same time, whenever you limit things with one hand, you giveth, the other you taketh away, and you are reducing that sort of that variety.
Sounding much more profound because you added eth after give
and take. That's what I thought. Giveth and taketh.
Wow, Pete's really wise.
Fucketh offeth. You tosseth potteth.
So Young GT started in Beastgrave, and it was a bit intimidating to jump in. And I think a lot of people have said that it's really hard. Or if you come away from the game and come back to it, you're behind it. And I think that's what Vanguard is in response to that. Yes, I was taketh the piss. Or I did taketh the piss.
It's pisseth. Thank you.
Piss off.
And I think for new players, it can almost be a bit of a turn off in that you could turn up for a small local tournament with you just bought Beastgrave, and maybe if one of the warbands was out or something like that, and then suddenly someone comes along with like Skaven or some Sepulchral or something like that, and you've got your plan, and so you start to do some things and you kill someone, then suddenly the next time they bring them back, you're like, what the fuck's that all about? Oh yeah, do you not know the rules to every other warband that exists? You're like, no. at least with the Vanguard one, you only have to know about the most recent ones.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also, it stops you turning up. When you went playing in a tournament, didn't somebody have like the Beast Grave box and the Worms bat and try to play with those or something?
Yeah.
If you filled that and then somebody turns up with, somebody like somebody who travels all around the country playing, and they turn up with ghosts and just destroy you,
just get smashed,
or it wouldn't happen now, but if they turned up with Lady Harrows that they got out of the Dreadfane box or something, you'd be like, what?
Where'd you get them from? Oh, I ordered it from America. What?
I don't think they were strictly legal, but these things could happen.
Yeah, and I think this way, at least Vanguard, it's like everyone's on a much more level playing field, and even if you're, a full 3-season veteran, you've still got the same tools at your disposal as everybody else does. The person who's literally just bought the warband that day and stuck them together in the store whilst they sat there and then just got talked into joining the tournament.
Play this game, it's really good.
And then you get smashed to pieces.
Yeah. Right. Does anybody else want to know anything else about Direchasm? We'll talk about anything else. We've covered Vanguard quite a lot. I don't know whether anybody else got any questions. Does
anybody have any fears about what might be heralded from the Direchasm, or maybe anything that they were looking forward to? That's the Direchasm.
Who's looking forward? Well, who wants? First of all, who wants to play the Dread Pageant? Well, I should probably ask the question the other way around. Who doesn't want to play the Dread Pageant? Who wants to play the Purifiers?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because I think we were both on looks. We were both sitting there going, "Oh shit, we're going to have to fight over who plays the Dread Pageant now." But you've come around to the idea a bit more on playing the
having looked at the card,
not necessarily from look.
I really like the Ether Quartz mechanics; really quite interesting. I quite like the way they're built. I'm a bit worried that they're all 3 wounds, but I quite like the way they build. Who would admit to being a girly elf? Nothing wrong with being a girly elf. It's 2020 now, Andrew. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Andrew. Come on. Most elves are girly. Even the butch ones are girly. Look at their hair. Rosa said that he doesn't like the primacy token. I'm not sure that I am 100% sold on the primacy token, because it seems to give a lot more to aggro than to non-aggro, which I'm not sure if I like or not.
I feel like it was answering a problem that the game had, which is that I think people would concede that aggro is always playing catch up. It's a much riskier. Is it
now though?
Well, I don't know whether they've restricted. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up, because I know aggro have been doing it a bit stronger. They've restricted a load of Arena Mortis cards, haven't they? But so I think you just. But even if it aggro, you still have to still a riskier strategy. So even if the payoff's roughly the same, so I feel like it's a little boost. I don't feel like it's a massive boost, especially with it being Spent Glory. But I don't know.
Yeah, true. There's that. Laura Bates says she worries a bit that the primacy will be such a big deal it will make older warbands rubbish. But anybody could get it, so I'm not. Yeah,
they're only universal cards. I don't think there's any faction specific so far. Any faction specific primacy cards. Yeah. So, and then once it's on the table, I think anybody can play it. Although there seems to be some dispute about that. Actually, whether it was up for grabs for both of you. But for me, it's pretty clear.
It seemed to me like as long as one person has something that has primacy, and you have that primacy token there, either person can get it.
I just feel like I read something that people were arguing, or rather, it wasn't ever meant to be that way. I feel like I met one of the other content providers said that it wasn't meant to be that way. It was meant to be if only one of you bought the primacy token, only one of you could gain access to it. But I don't think that's right.
Doesn't sound right from the rules.
No, well, no, definitely. I mean, using English, it doesn't sound right.
No. I think it would be a bit unfair.
Yeah.
If it was, because then it's just an easy way for yourself to get yourself more glory. Yeah. I guess maybe it's the gamble there that do you take it and risk.
Well, there's no risk to take.
No, I don't see any downside. There's no downside to it. Yeah.
The risk to take it in now is that your opponent doesn't include it, and then they smash your face in, and you actually give them glory.
yeah, exactly. Roger says he doesn't like it because it overcomplicates game, and I do agree with that, because there's this whole, you get 2 glory for killing a 6-wing fighter, you've got the primacy token, you've got those other, is it the hunger tokens as well? And you've got all that. It's a lot more suddenly coming to the game.
The token mechanic in general, I'm not a fan of. Just generally, they're just one more thing to forget, aren't they, Pete? Ritual tokens, for example.
Couldn't think of what you're talking about. I don't even. Oh no, sorry, I forgot what you were talking about. That's right, I forgot it again.
Wolfman says.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
No, go. I was just gonna say I agree. I hate token mechanics, because I'll always forget them.
Yeah, they're quite interesting, but most of the ones in the previous season were underpowered, and then I feel like the wild ones were a little bit overpowered, maybe, and they're easy to forget. I'm not a big fan of them, and I do agree. It is just another layer of complication. It wouldn't be a Games Workshop game without layers of complication, though, would it?
That's the thing I have. That's the one thing that I have that I fear that Direchasm has sort of heralded, in that every season they bring out something new. So we got magic in one and scatter tokens. We got hunters and quarries and combos and stuff in another. We're getting primacy tokens and hunger tokens and all that in this version. Sometimes I just enjoy playing Underworlds online because it's just simple. It's just so much less.
I can see that. I think that's just that's just the nature of things these days.
Yeah.
You have to add nuts and bolts on. Wolfman asked, is there any
Magic the Gathering
additional way to gain additional ether quartz? I don't think there is. I did search through the cards. I don't think there is any way at the moment. And since it's a purifier's mechanic, I don't think there will be a way of generating additional ether quartz, which is quite interesting. It makes it quite a scant resource. And I think you have to pick your cards quite carefully, because some of the effects are quite powerful, but you won't get to use them that often.
No Beef says that whilst he likes primacy tokens, he fears it might become a bit more of a tax as you start to deck build as the season goes on. Yeah, it's just another thing to have to balance with everything else. And Laura did confirm that she thinks it depends on how many warbands get warband specific cards that interact with that token. I'm hoping there are none. I'm hoping it's all universal and everybody has the same sort of crack at it. But yeah, we will see, I guess.
Yeah, that's Laura saying what I'd heard. That's what I heard.
Yes, the whole. During playtesting, they played it one way, but the rules currently don't say that. And I wonder whether that will remain, whether GW will say, sorry, we cocked up writing the rules, because they've done that recently with, was it the most recent version of Blood Bowl? They completely cocked up the rule book in certain places.
Okay.
Like one of the things, the way it's worded was basically a case of saying bad happened to your fighter or your player. You effectively, your armor save got better.
Okay.
Which is obviously not what they meant. They obviously meant to say -1 instead of +1 or some shit like that. So they've had to release an FAQ already saying, yeah, that's not what we meant.
The Marius says you both have to have primacy cards in your deck, but that really isn't what it says. So
it just says if one of you has, you announce it at the start, and that's it.
Because there is only one primacy token. There aren't two. Yeah. It says specifically there is only ever one primacy token. So you don't get one each. So which makes me think that it's written and played the way they wanted to play it. But I guess we'll wait and see.
Yongjin points out that he thinks primacy means that you do have to interact with the opponent more as an objective player or risk giving up free glory. Now, whilst I agree with that, it does mean that you're much less likely to go for an objective grabby deck if you think that there's a chance you're going to have to start doing that. So it just means more people will lean away from going for objective based decks. They're all going to go more aggro or flex.
Yeah, I'm still. I mean, maybe I'm just behind the times. I still feel like the amount of glory you can get from being on objectives means that you don't have to worry about your opponent getting one spec.
The last Versailles tournament had a lot of. I think all the top warbands were aggro and Wormspat won.
Roger just said Jays was aggro, Wormspat. So maybe I'm behind the times. But again, they have restricted some of those very aggro, like the one you can make an extra charge or attack action, whatever that Vision of Glory is. That's restricted, and the new gauntlets are restricted, aren't they? So I feel like maybe they did go a bit heavy on the aggro, and they've brought it back in.
Could be. I think aggro is already taken over objective play, but I guess we'll see as this season goes on.
Well, yeah, that's what I just said.
Youngjin says Hunger has no drawbacks currently. Have to see what cards come in the future expansion. Now I can't remember what Hunger had in there.
Hunger, yeah,
or
it's
what
basically
cards
there's
there
a
were.
couple of ways of adding things, and then if you've got tokens, you can score objectives. That's about it. And there's a
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be more things where you can use that hunger against people, and you can maybe distract them away or something like that. But yeah, hunger at the minute doesn't seem to have any downsides on the cards that are in there.
No.
I like the fact that there's a hunger one, which is choose a friendly fighter and roll a magic dice for each of the wound counters, and +1 extra magic dice the fighter has. For each lightning, you heal them for 1, which is pretty tasty.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
And that you don't spend hunger counters either, which is interesting. Normally in these games you spend them, but you can just keep using the hunger code.
This just seems to build up and up and up.
Yeah.
Andrew Murray says the game does seem to be getting more bloated now. 2 glory from a 6+ kill, primacy tokens, other tokens, hunter quarry. And he points out who actually remembers all the Grimwatch special rules. I've never remembered all the Grimwatch special rules. I don't think we've ever played a game with the Grimwatch where we've remembered all of their additional special rules. It just doesn't happen. No,
exactly. I think the 2 glory for a 6+ kill in theory is a good rule, because I think if you're playing somebody like Hrothgorn, unless depending on what they're trying to do. When I've played, I just think actually there's no point in going after Hrothgorn. I might as well just make sure, try and keep away from him and kill the other ones. Whereas you've actually got a slightly more incentive to actually go for the kill. So I think it makes it more likely that you'll fight. I think I like it.
Yeah.
I think I like it.
I'm on the other end, so we'll have to see.
How do you mean? You think you're less likely?
No, I don't like it because of the fact that I think it's going to push aggro more. I don't know.
Why would it push aggro more? Oh, well, because people get extra glory for killing the 6 move.
Yeah.
Okay. But the aggro guys are the big guys, so
True.
The objective-based warbands won't really run into that problem of giving away shipping 2 glory. So I don't know. You might be right. I haven't really followed the meta, so I don't know. And of course, it's completely different now anyway. So any decks that were good with Nightvolt cards in them are now completely gutted anyway. So Tome of Offerings would have been a massive running in any aggro warband, and that's gone now. Certainly pre-Arena Mortis, aggro was in a bad place.
Yeah, so, that is true. Well, yeah, it wasn't the best.
I know Rippers. There were some people who had good success with Rippers, but they won the Canadian Grand Prix Grand Clash, didn't they? Ripper coming out the outside, overtaking Lewis Hamilton. But I think the whole of listening to, I haven't played very much. Listening to the podcast, people were generally suggesting that aggro was lagging behind and particularly lacked good objectives.
Yeah, that might have changed now, possibly. But I guess we'll see now. Rosa has pointed out that they haven't made a very good COVID move where there's a token that you share, and then you have to keep passing it back and forth, and then you go and pass it around other people. Yeah, it's not exactly the best idea right now.
That is a very good point, yeah.
We have got a question, though, from Indomito TV. Do we know anything about the promo warband cards in the pre-orders?
No.
From what I understand, if you pre-order, if you're one of it, I think there are only limited numbers, as is GW's way. But I think if you're part of the limited pre-order, you do get some slightly nicer, funky warband cards for the 2 warbands in the box, obviously, along with a shiny token.
Yeah, you get an extra primacy token. Did you order ours this time? Because I ordered them last time, but I don't know. Did you? Yep. Have the option to get the promo card? Hopefully
we were in the first 10.
Okay.
From I can't remember the name of the website now.
Willen Games.
Willen Games. Yep. Go check them out if you're in the UK. Willen Games Co.uk. And hopefully we have got the token and the fighter cards from that, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
There are some cards coming out with the book as well.
Oh yes,
but they are just alternate art, and that's it. There's nothing special
about the novelisation. Is it a novelisation or is it short stories?
I think there's multiple short stories.
Okay.
I think. As Titinsa says, at least you aren't expected to put it in your mouth, the token I assume he's referring to, and I guess, nothing's stopping you. Just kill somebody, pick up the token, go,
It's one way of making sure nobody tries to take it back off you, I suppose.
Exactly. Just oh, sorry, did you want to attack my fighter? No, I'm just going to go on guard.
Yeah.
Some FLGs save the promo cards for tournament prizes and stuff, so ordering from your local GW might be the best chance to get them if you have one. Good point, Laura. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think we've been quite lucky because obviously, and Laura, you are one of our Patreon supporters, so hopefully you're in the Discord, but the Hobby Hermit's been helping set up Willing Games, so we had a man on the inside to help us with that one.
I thought it was uncomfortable sitting down last week.
Indomito TV, yes, sorry, not all of the core sets will have the alternate art cards, but I'm sure that they will be floating around on eBay very shortly from a lot of people who got them and are like, I don't care about these.
They tend to drift about, don't they?
Yeah.
So the next set of warbands, Pete, what are you looking forward to? Because there is a little bit in the rulebook about the next.
Is there?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not.
I mean,
not going to read it out, but there is a little bit of
couple.
text about the star. Well, I will read bits of it out.
Oh, go on then. You've twisted me arm.
I'm going to open this now, and the rules won't be here because I'm reading them somewhere else.
Rosa says we'll get some GW prongs to be able to move the tokens soon. Oh, that'd be great. Like you see in the war films where they're shifting all the models around with the little stick.
That would be cool.
Thing. That'd be cool. Like that.
The Starblood Stalkers and Karga's Ravagers.
All gone then.
Yeah. So I'm not going to read the text too much of it, but which way? I mean, I know you're looking forward to Cargo's Ravagers.
Oh yeah.
Going to be Cargo from now on.
Cargo Pants' Ravagers.
And the Starblood Stalkers. I think I'm more interested in the Starblood Stalkers, I have to say.
Well, that's fortuitous then. I think
just for Ed's benefit, really.
The fact that there are two, they've previewed two models and they're both skinks. I just think it's going to be an all skink warband now.
You think? And they got a chameleon.
Yeah. They have got a chameleon in there and a star.
Which gives good song opportunities anyway.
Yeah, that is true. Which we didn't utilise it in our Blitz Bowl match when we played that. Actually, we did. We did sing that quite a few times.
Yeah, inevitable. Vampirates. That's the we don't know. That's the following set of warbands, isn't it? The Vampirates, Karma Chameleon. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if it's going to be vampire pirates or whether it's just going to be vampires. I mean, there's nothing really in there to suggest pirates at all. Jason
reckons they get at least one Saurus. Do you think he saw us? See, it's just the joke potential for playing Elizabeth. It's just too high.
Does he come with a dog? Do you think he saw us Rex? Rosa wouldn't mind all skink warband. Yeah, but skinks suck. They're just rubbish and tiny and they're there just to die. Mr. Marley says more Blitzball. Those games are great. Well, we might have to revert to Blitzball until we can actually meet up to play some Direchasm the way things are going at the minute. Yeah, it's hard to know. I've said to Pete, our little short videos we've done. I know it's Direchasm related. It's the new hotness, and everybody's very excited about Direchasm. But they actually draw more views and comments and interaction than when we play games digitally. So I'm almost feeling like it's while we can't meet, we should just. Make stuff up. Just do comment videos.
Just do short little videos. I don't know what you guys think.
The problem with that, Robin, is we lack the ability to come up with topics that people really care about. Because I was looking at WTF Hammer, and they did a video which was basically called "Should You Buy Direchasm?" And this is nothing against the guy who runs the channel or his video, but personally, I find when I just see those video titles, I just think, well, why would you ever do that video and say no? Because obviously it's a yes, you're going to buy it. It's the next one of the fucking season. If you don't buy it, you can't play the game anymore, can you? So I couldn't make that kind of video because it would be, hi, I'm Pete, and this week I'm going to tell you, should you be buying Direchasm? Yes. Credits. Because that's like...
Okay, well, maybe I'll give WTF, whatever, a ring in, because he sounds like he's
But
more my sort of person.
But that's the problem. We suck at doing those kind of videos because we're like, well, who cares? We'll find out in a few months what that warband is. You know, everyone's like, what could it be? What's this silhouette and all that? And we're sitting there going, I don't know, who cares?
I do,
It'll be here in a month anyway.
I do know what you mean. But that said, we do sit here every Tuesday night and just talk bollocks, and people listen.
That is true.
Although we're down to 28, I thought we'd have more people on this week with Direchasm being on. We're down to 28 of you lovely people.
Yes, we are thankful for everyone.
General Gossip, he's the 5th warband leader, is that right? It's going to be a World War II American.
We're rubbish about we're rubbish about gossip though. That's just, we suck at that because that's like a young man's game. It feels like to me.
Gossip.
Like, what could it be? Yeah, it's like gossip is like that. What could it be? What's next? Oh, what could that thing possibly be? And we're sitting there going, who gives a shit? Just give it a month and we'll find out. I know what you mean,
yeah. There's quite an art to that, isn't there? Because you have to have enough knowledge to be able to make up something reasonable. Otherwise, people just don't care. And that's the bit where it's time consuming because you have to know your stuff. And I know nothing about the lore of AOS or the GUR. Is it GUR? I don't know what play we're even playing.
Yeah, we're in GUR.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So to know what might be feasible or plausible.
And Carrie Bento says, cutting some slack, he's just starting his channel. I've got literally nothing against the guy or his channel. I wish him all the success. I think, if anything, he'll probably end up doing a lot better than us because he knows what kind of videos will do well. And he's, you know, I've nothing personal about the video. I haven't even, if I'm honest, I haven't even watched the video because it's not the kind of video that interests me. And I don't actually watch very many videos at all on YouTube. So I have literally got nothing against the guy. I can't make those kind of videos. So yes, it's definitely not a negative thing. I think we suck at it, Robin and I.
Yes, it definitely. Most things, to be fair.
Ian says, how about getting back into the game after 2 years? Is it too much of a trawl now without the latest card? Well, there's Vanguard now, which means you play with just the Direchasm season. So
yeah, do check out. I did a little video about the Vanguard season today. Was live today, and check it out. It explains what it is and why I think it's going to be really good for people who are just getting back into the game, like yourself. But yeah, it basically means you can, hopefully, when tournaments are a thing again, you can just play tournaments with just the just the Direchasm season. And I paused there and waited for myself because I could then cut it out later. But of course, I'm live, so I can't.
Oh shit!
It's funny, these little things we pick up.
Rosa says that Matt, Ed, and Milky are off playing Warzone. I'm cancelling their Patreon membership.
Wow.
I'm disgusted in them.
Yeah.
Milky, Matt, and Ed, if you're watching this now, later on, don't bother.
Yeah. Wow.
Although you're already an hour through it, so you might as well finish.
That's a disgrace. I'm leaving. I'm going to go.
I'm disgusted. I'm leaving. I'm going. No, I'm really not. I'm sorry. Jason reckons the Warband 3 will probably be vampires. I reckon they'll probably be vampires. I'm looking forward to vampires.
And I reckon they will be piratical in some way, or at least lean towards sort of highwayman aesthetic. I reckon.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the figure seems to be holding sort of a slightly cutlassy kind of thing, and in general, vampires and pirates seem to be getting merged together in recent media. So there's probably that kind of trend going on there.
Yep.
I'm certainly not going to be disappointed if they are. Bye. His 9:30 meeting awaits him. 9:30 meetings suck. Oh, your speaker's gone a bit. Your microphone's gone a bit quiet.
Was it? Oh, it's just me. I'm just losing the will to live.
Make me loud again. Yeah, VJ, I think you're right. VJ's just put Pete and Robin proving anyone can make YouTube videos since 2016. It literally is. If we can do it, anyone can do it, and many people have started since we've been doing this and have achieved much greater success than we have. So anyone can do it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think in Underworlds we still have the most subscribers. But I think Justin might have more than us, but he doesn't just do Underworld, does he? We're not as technically astute as many of the others. I mean, I quite like the guy we were talking about, WTF Hammer. His ideas of doing those balancing videos is really nice niche kind of thing to do, a really interesting thing to look at, and it's really nice to see him branching out into other content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely going to be trying to cover other stuff as well. When we're going to have the time to do that, I'm not 100% sure, but we'd like to cover other things. Like we've got the Necromunda stuff just starting now, and yeah. Morph says that we need to talk to Andy for the secret source. I think I know what the secret source is. You've just got to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And we don't. And then we all need to talk to Adam. I would love to have a chat with Adam. I'd love to pick his brain in general. And just find out what it's like, seeing how the other half live. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I would love to do more content about things, but it's finding the time to play games to put on a channel. I don't know how many games does Andy actually do. Does Andy just spend his time talking about games? Or does he play? I mean, he must play them, but does he record? Does he do battle reports, Andy? I think he doesn't, does he, or does he?
I don't remember seeing many on his channel. No. We always end up seeming to talk about other YouTubers when we're having these discussions.
Yeah.
But I think generally more successful YouTube channels do more discussion videos and stuff like that rather than battle reports.
BJ says a few. Well, that's actually. I was talking to Pete about it today. Interestingly enough, as well, I was asking about whether people would rather see more discussion-y things, and then Pete went on for how shit they'd be. So perhaps you might not now, but. We have noticed the couple that we've done this week have got more views than generally, certainly the digital bat reps, more than bat reps. So maybe we ought to be trying to think of things to talk about in the game and the gaming world than actual playing. I mean, we would still play some games, but they're easy to record. They're easy to record as well because we don't have to be in the same place. We could do them on our own.
I feel like if we're going to do that, we need to up our production game though. Andy and Adam and co, they've got a much slicker, face
that is a plan of ours for 2021, isn't it, to get a better recording space and maybe get some equipment. I was thinking I might need a better mic after because of my this was a bit crackly this week, but we'll see.
Yeah. Andrew likes the Necromunda videos. I like the Necromunda videos, and I think we're just going to be doing just as many different things as we can. Really, I think whilst we made this channel on Underworlds content, I think a lot of people who originally came to us because of Underworlds, apart from the real awesome core of people who are still supporting us via Patreon and that, a lot of people have maybe a lot, people come and go in the game, and so people come into it and then they leave it and so on. I think if we try and cover just as many different things as we're able to, that all helps.
Yeah. VJ says that you're editing and graphic overlays with Batrat, some of the best around, Pete. So there you go. And VJ knows his stuff on that score. So
he does.
High praise indeed. I think that is one of our USPs, isn't it? Your production values are really good for the bat reps, and that's
for the bat reps.
But
I think
we kind of need to bring that into. Problem is that I think both at home, both of our recording things are kind of temporary, so they're always a faff to set up, and you check it's right all the time. If we can get a permanent, not freezing cold space to record, then that would go a long way to making us a bit more consistent on all times of back rep.
Having the 4K camera, having the lighting, making sure that we've got that space set up with a suitable background, all those kind of things just make that final touch on those kinds of videos. But I think if you can get that kind of thing set up, it would just help immensely. All that kind of thing.
Andrew, Tommy and I are wearing different new jumper everywhere. I got my Christmas t-shirt on this week, Andrew, just for you.
Merry Christmas.
See that there? It's got the Grinch.
It's the Grinch.
I'm going the wrong way. Winding up winding in Merry Christmas. I bought that in Spain in the middle of summer for £4.
Bargain.
So your Patreon money, I'm very wise with your Patreon money, Andrew.
Adam's stuff is very subjective as it's a bit self-helpy. The live streams are very shy. I think that a lot of his. The problem is, I can listen to Adam talk for hours.
He could really shop in this, couldn't he?
He could
just sit and listen to it.
In fact, I think when that dark day comes and David Attenborough walks off this mortal coil, he should go for that job because he could literally just talk about anything and I can listen to him for days. He's just, I don't know if it's his mic setup and his space and all the rest of it, or if that's just how he sounds in person, but his voice is just like liquid chocolate. Just sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a serious man crush on his voice.
And he makes it look so effortless as well. David Attenborough.
I suspect that because I remember Andy put a thing out before showing how he prepares for his videos that he makes, and he's got like a whole script that he writes, and he's got it on like an iPad that scrolls up so he can read it as he goes. Like, I do none of that. I just turn the camera on and go, shit, what am I doing? I'm going to make stuff up.
Yeah, I for my better ones, I have like a list that I go through, but I don't have a script. But I think but my best jokes are ad libs, so that's why.
Yeah, I think we certainly don't want to be like we don't want to copy Adam and Andy because they already do that, and we don't want to be trying to tread on other people's toes. We want to be doing our thing, exactly. But we just like to be as successful as they are.
Yeah, our things are jokes, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Bad jokes.
So Adam does his off the cuff. Stuff. Well, that's impressive.
Bastard.
That's impressive because they're always very,
What's a
very
bastard? Good. They are fantastic. Yeah. He really must think about it all a lot in advance.
Maybe anyway. We shouldn't just turn up to the audition pissed and just hoping for the best.
Yeah. One day we have to do like a drunk game, like a drinking game version of it, or something like that. Or it'd be brilliant. But we driving home afterwards will get a bit dicey. So, has anybody got any other Direchasm related questions or hopes or fears? Because that is kind of what we were talking about tonight. We've got 20 minutes left, so we might as well make the most of them. Does anybody have anything they want to ask about Direchasm?
Yeah.
We're just going to talk about Direchasm in general. I think for the most part, of the new warbands coming out that we've guessed so far, I think we know nearly all of them except the one which might be either Savage Orcs or Spider Riders, possibly. And I don't know which one I'd rather it would be. I think I'd rather it be Spider Riders, but I can see an argument against either of them.
I was totally not listening.
I know.
And that's why
I'd stopped.
That's why we don't do very well. I was reading Andy's comment, and I wasn't expecting you to ask me a question. I don't want spiders.
You don't want spiders?
No.
There might be a bit too...
Just as I said that, Laura typed, hoping for Spider Fang. Well, Laura, I don't want them.
So there. Yeah. And I'm the one with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I don't know why. They've always... Goblin Spider Riders always left me cold. I have no idea why.
Have they?
Maybe it's because they kept putting me outside in the garden. No, I don't know why.
I don't know. I think the models. It'll be big ass snakes. Ass snakes are the worst kind of snakes. Asps. I don't know. I think I'd like the spiders, but they'd have to be newer models. The older models never really worked.
You know what? I think part of my... I was just thinking about. I think part of my spider hatred might have been the old metal spider. Goblin and Spider Rider was just kept falling apart all the time.
Yeah,
it was just rubbish.
GW didn't have the technology for it.
No, exactly.
I think when they started to get into plastics, they did those Spider Rider models, but those things are like 20 years old now, and they do look a little shit. If they created new multi-part plastic spider models, they probably look fantastic.
Fantastic.
Hey,
yeah, as with the vampires. They obviously, if they do a warband, it will be new models, and I can see they could be pretty cool. But for me, I suppose I don't like rippers, and they just feel like rippers with extra legs.
Yeah.
So that isn't what I want. Maybe one and some other stuff.
But I can see the argument against Savage Orcs as well, because we got Morgoths in the previous season. I know one's Brutes and one's Savage Orcs, so there's a difference there. But it's Orcs, isn't it?
It's undead dwarves, I told you.
That'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely fantastic. And maybe it's just a whole new race that they've not had yet, like the vampires.
Yeah.
I mean, vampires are pretty new. You never know.
I don't know. They've been around a while. Vampires.
Yes, but not in AOS.
Games Workshop patented vampires. Like, no, I don't think you can do that.
No, you can't use that now. We're suing you. We're also taking out a legal case against Christopher Lee. We're going to dig him up. I can see why having orcs would be. It's been done. They did Morgox, so I'm less interested in orcs. I'm also not a massive fan of savage orcs in general. They've always been my least favourite of all the orcs.
Soul Blight are vampires in AOS. So I do like the word Soul Blight. It's a good.
Yeah, I mean, for some of the things we've taken the piss out of GW for, they're elves and they're Duarden and they're Oryx. They do come up with some good names every now and then, like the Soul Blight and stuff like that, and the Chain Rasps. Things like that. I did like.
Yeah. But whoever makes those names up is not the same person who makes up Stormcast Eternal names, because they're normally shit.
Yeah,
they're offsetting.
Yeah. This week's unpopular opinion.
Just take a word and put "or" on the end and call a Stormcast
Venator.
This is a
Plaster Roar.
Teacup Or. Cameroar.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. What did Ross say? He wants them to release big blue guys in superhuman suits with big guns and massive technology worked fists. What? Have they done that before? It feels familiar. I was thinking that they could even do Underworlds 40k, a bit like Space Marine training. So it wouldn't necessarily even be like...
Interesting.
So when people got killed, they didn't get killed, they just got taken out.
Because the whole thing's a simulation.
Exactly, a bit like that. But then they could make it Marines against Marines, so there would be less trouble trying to balance things up and less problems trying to explain why there's a Gene Stealer attacking an Orc, but then a minute later it's fighting against a Necron or a Space Marine.
Yeah, if you did it that way, it'd have to always be Space Marines, wouldn't it? Or always at least one team of Space Marines for it to work. But I suppose you could, I don't know, they could fudge it. Yeah, I think that's quite like that idea.
And seeing as Space Marines make up like 90% of their income anyway, I don't think they'll lose much in the way of customers.
No.
There'll be loads of people who'll be like, well, I want it to be Necrons, but...
There's scope for Wonder Munda, or whatever we're going to call it, in the Hive. There's definitely scope for that. It was Wonder Munda, wasn't it?
Yep. Or as Wolfman Gaz says, you could set it in the warp, job done. Can make anything you want. Why is weird stuff happening? Chaos. Space magic. My kids would sometimes, when we were watching things like Harry Potter, my kids go, why is so-and-so happening? I could just literally sit and go, magic. What do you want? What do you want from me? It's magic. And then we were watching the latest Star Wars films, like, why is so-and-so happening? Space magic. What do you want?
Space magic.
It's literally it, space magic.
Blackstone Fortress, that would also work. They even had the hexes. They even had the hexes on there.
Yeah, it did. That's true. It writes itself. Come on, GW, get on this train. I'm still waiting to see where this kids' version of Underworlds went that they promised us a year ago.
Yeah, it might even be closer to 2 years ago now. I don't feel like it's happening.
Why would you say that? It's only been 2 years in production.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's coming anytime soon.
Still waiting on that teaser with the murdered Space Marine and the flayed one. I just assumed that meant that Necrons were coming.
Oh, okay.
And that was it.
I don't think I'll see it. Kids' version of Underworlds. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I think it was at something like LVO, or no, maybe not. Maybe they didn't even announce it at a convention. They did. If you look on the Warhammer community page, it's on there somewhere. But they announced that they were looking at a cut-down, child-friendly version of Underworld. But there's never been anything else about it since.
Here you go. I've even got the link. It's literally the first thing on Google. Here you go. Mr. Marlowe says evening. Oh, sorry, he's saying evening to Rob Marks. I was going to say, surely you've been here a while, Andrew.
Evening, Andrew.
Evening. There was it was under rigorous test, but then just sort of went silent.
Because they realised nobody knew how to do rigorous testing.
Rod says, how about Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? What's my answer to the kids then? Magic's just magic, isn't it?
Well, if it's magic, except nobody, I can't use magic. It's too powerful. Can't possibly do that.
Except for when we do. But shush, don't tell them. So yeah, I was quite interested in there being a kids version, slightly easier to access, but they've kind of sort of done it well. They haven't actually, but they've at least come up with a simplified version with Vanguard. So there is that, which is handy.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great to see it. I don't know whether you get new models for it.
I always assumed it would be just the current warbands, but with a simplified version of deck building or something like that.
It'd be interesting to see how it comes to fruition. Maybe they just decided it wasn't worth it. People wouldn't buy in. Maybe it didn't. Maybe they did some focus testing or whatever they call it, and it didn't land. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Oh yeah, as noted, it said season 3 coming soon. So this was before season 3 landed. Yeah. So it was over a year ago.
I don't know how well I know they only sell it through Barnes and Noble, such I don't know how well the other games they've done, the Space Marine Command type games, I don't know how well they've done for kids, particularly.
Yeah, I mean it's all about getting them hooked early, isn't it? Yeah. It's about getting that first hit for free or very cheap, and then working for them. That's why they always give out a free model at GW, right?
Yeah. But even how much has Underworld? Underworld's gone up quite a lot in price in the 4 years we've been playing, hasn't it? I think
has it?
Used to be quite. I think so. Maybe I'm just basing it on the Australian price. But
the first one we got was free.
I feel like it was quite a cheap.
The second
box,
one we got,
and now it's not so much.
The second one was free, and then the third one was free, and the fourth one was free. So they've all been free. Gavin's got off to bed. Good night, Gavin. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hope to see you next week.
Yep.
It's worth pointing out at this point in proceedings, any of our Patreon supporters, we have opened up the next competition for December, which is a giveaway, and also we're only probably going to do 2 more live episodes this side of the new year, because you can't make the 20-something, can you, Robin?
I can't make the 22nd. Well, I'll probably not. I'm meant to be going out, but I'm sure that COVID was screwed out.
Going out?
Yeah, I know. Well, we're meant to be going out for a family thing, and I don't want to have to rush back and what have you? So, but it's bound to be screwed by COVID. so it may not.
Next week is probably our last live broadcast this year.
Yes.
So there we go. Next week we'll have to do a retrospective of 2020.
Andrew's gonna phone the police. I'm only going out with my family, Andrew.
To a rave with 500 people.
Yeah. We have afternoon tea booked up in London. That afternoon, so we're hoping to go. But if any of the children come home with COVID and have to self-isolate for 2 weeks, from now onwards we're stuffed. So.
Rosa says, "Am I not as brave as Robin? Brave enough to go it alone?" No, I'm not. No,
he's only half the man I am.
Maybe I'll do some Underworlds online. I'll just stream that. I quite enjoy. I don't get enough time to play Underworlds online. I'd like to play more of it, and so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I will. So there. And that's not me doing it because you said I couldn't do it. That's me making my own decision. Damn, I haven't played again. And then hopefully come January, we'll be able to finally meet up again and actually get some games.
Still won't be able to do that, but. No tongues.
No tongues. Pete's solo live stream video length 10 seconds. I'll just rage quit. Lanzo says he's just found the stream. Hopes it's not too late. Well, unfortunately, we are going to be closing.
You've got
in about
5 minutes, Lance. What do you want to know?
But yeah, 5 minutes. Got any questions? Ask them now.
Ask them now. It's a really good one.
But we're here. We're here. Every week. We're here. So, do stick your diary. Follow the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Like and follow. And then that way when we're live next time, you'll get a little announcement saying, these idiots are online again. You can come jump in straight away and get it from the very start.
Yeah. All the lunacy.
Streaming game of Blitzball is another good idea at some point, VJ. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think I need to get a bit more familiar with the game before that, just so I don't sit there fucking up, basically. At least in Underworlds, when you fuck up, it's kind of like you don't have the option of going, oh shit, can I go back? Because it's already done it, and there's no turning back.
Is the age of hold objective 1 over? Lars was asked. Well, one has to ask whether it was ever really here, but there are none in the box. So if you're starting with Direchasm and going to Vanguard tournaments, then it's no longer a thing. But I mean, nobody used to take it anyway, really, did they? Outside of
No, I don't think so.
Outside
of people who only had the
core box. So
yeah. John Grant says, so what's this Direchasm all about? Oh, it's not worth it, mate. I wouldn't look at it.
More space for better cards. Yeah, exactly. More space for more. I wouldn't necessarily say better, but well, it'd be hard to get worse than the whole objective cards, but certainly more interesting cards. So yes, I think it's definitely a good step.
Ooh. One thing that I did meant to say, one thing I was going to say in this video, is that there seems to be a lot more cards in the game that have like a if this or do that kind of option around them. So, you know, multiple uses of the same card. There seem to be more of those popping up. And that's probably just as, you know, GW get better at writing cards and they start to, you know, fill out the rules better and just start to feel their way a lot better with writing them. But I really do enjoy the idea that there are cards that have multiple uses and multiple scenarios that they can be used in. A bit like the objective cards where they had the, you know, you can score this if you do this or you do that. It just makes it feel like you're getting more value for your card.
Yeah. I know why. I was going to talk about it. I haven't seen anybody talking about it online, but I've been busy, so I haven't seen a lot of stuff. The Prey Skin Mask card, the one that you appear to be able to give to your opponent when they attack you, that's a totally new design space that I think...
I haven't even seen that one.
What's that Prey Skin Mask.
Ooh. I'm going to load that up now. Sorry. So I haven't got a box yet, so I haven't seen them. Prey Skin Mask. This fight is a quarry. -1 dice to this fight's attack actions. This card cannot be discarded. During a range 1 or 2 attack that targets the fighter after the deal damage step, give the attacker this upgrade. Ooh. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts because it means you have to give your card to your opponent. Yeah.
People all over the country will be buying a second card just to give to their opponent. That would be like triple sleeved and wrapped in plastic or God knows what.
If you kill someone with that, can they pass it on? Well, they do because it's during a range one. So yeah. So yeah, it passes on, and then if you kill them, if you then attack the person back, they can pick it back to you.
It just says after the deal damage step.
We've not used before, where you actually use your cards or end up being used on other people.
That's really cool. I like that because I think right back.
It's after the deal damage step. You're right. Sorry, I missed that, Gaz. You're absolutely right. It does say after the deal damage step. But I think it must be because it doesn't say that they have to be still alive. So I think whether they alive or dead, then they.
But of course now there's already you know the question mark that's going to have to be FAQ'd, and again, how did they not spot this when writing it out that they could not see?
Yeah,
you know.
Surely that's a really good point, Jeff. I hadn't thought of that.
So it's like, I like that card. I like the idea of opening that function.
Yeah.
It annoys me that card is already a bit, what do you do in this situation? So an FAQ is already going to be needed for that, but I like the idea of that.
I don't think an FAQ is needed. I think it's after the deal damage step. It doesn't say whether they're dead or alive, so you don't have to do anything. I don't think you have to do anything else, but that's me.
I would suggest if they're dead, they can't pass it on.
Why? It doesn't say that. This is why we didn't FAQ.
They're dead, so none of their cards work. I'm sure there are... But there are other examples of when a fighter's killed, they can't use their upgrade.
But it doesn't say that. It's not. They're not using it. It says after the deal damage step, give them the attacker upgrade. It doesn't say after the deal damage step if this fighter is still alive or if this fighter is dead. Just as after the deal damage step. But okay, an FAQ will clear it.
Should be before the damage step if they really want to make, because that's the argument that'll be made is if it always worked regardless, it would be before the deal damage step.
It also means if you miss, I think, because you don't have a deal damage step, then you can't pass it on.
Yeah, there is that. So now they have the opportunity to FAQ it either way. Yeah, exactly, or the opposite way. What about the box upgrade? What box upgrade? It lets you save one upgrade. What's this?
Sorry, where's that?
What's going on with these upgrades? He said there's a box upgrade that lets you save an upgrade. Lender's lockbox. After this fighter is removed from the battlefield, pick one of their upgrades and return it to your hand. Yeah, that's a gift pack one.
Any card provides a discussion that it needs an FAQ. Yeah, I guess so. It depends on the there must be outliers where people are having discussions that you don't need to have. But yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's pretty clear, but that means I'm almost certainly wrong. I can totally see it. What Pete's saying. But the thing if you have too many cards like this, it's another layer of complexity, which is what we were talking about earlier, because you're then starting to pass cards around. So you can imagine being at a tournament, and you forget to pick up your Prey Skin Mask, and then you have to go and find your opponent when you realise you've only got 19 cards. But if they had 3 or 4 of these,
horrible.
It could get messy. I mean, it's almost like you'd have to have some sort of way of putting the cards in things so you could uniquely identify them as yours. Some sort of sleeve or something. I don't know. That seems madness to me.
You'd have to have a secondary larger sleeve that you would put it into to give to your opponent, so that it would be like this comically sized card, and then your opponent wouldn't be able to accidentally pick it up because they'd be like, "Why have I got this gigantic comedy A5 card?" or something like that.
Jason agrees with me. I'm not entirely sure which point it is, but
it does matter when
I called you a moron.
Yeah, probably. But I like. I agree with you though. I think it should probably apply either way, but I can see the counter argument people will use, and for that reason, it's now going to need an FAQ because if there's one thing people love doing, it's abusing the rules.
Absolutely.
Marlo's sending you some card sleeves for Christmas.
I think they're called envelopes at Christmas.
So I think, unless anybody's got any last minute questions you want to ask, I think we're going to have to say good night there.
Good night.
Because we have children and jobs and lives which all suck and mean that we have to get up early.
Yes. Take it as a blanket statement. I will, Jason. Brilliant. Thank you. If only we were married.
So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It's been a great chat. Thanks to everybody who's taken part and mentioned anything. And if you didn't, do it next time. We always love hearing from everybody who's watching.
Yep. Thanks for staying on, everybody. Andrew says everybody would be crazy enough to stay to the end. Andrew would. You even got a shout out in one of my videos in the week, didn't you, Andrew, for staying towards the end? And Rosa says, "What's on your Christmas list?" Maybe we should ask that next week.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that next week.
I think next Christmas themed final live chat of the year. We'll get hats and bells.
It'll be 2020. Yes, because we won't be able to get together to do our Christmas wishes videos this year, so we'll probably have to do it digitally like this.
Yeah.
And I think we will. Next week will probably be a 2020 look back at 2020, how things went that year, and how people felt about it.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll reminisce.
2020 was mostly shit. I think I've done that. We skip next week as well now.
Oh, there we go. Done. Thank you very much for watching.
Are we going to sing?
Okay, guys and girls.
2 glory for everyone still here. Yep. Crit Death Matt, you can have your 2 glory. We'll see you all next week.
And you have scored to the end. We should really try and get more card puns like that into our videos. Yeah. We just don't do it enough, I think. So thanks all for being here.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
And we'll see you all next week for the last in 2020. Bye.